opening scene, a tense courtroom. The courtroom is packed as Jamal Carter, a 17-year-old black teenager, stands before Judge Harold Whitmore. He has been wrongfully accused of theft, but the evidence against him is flimsy. Judge Whitmore, known for his harsh and dismissive attitude, barely glances at Jamal before making assumptions. The public defender assigned to Jamal is uninterested, barely offering any defense. The judge sighs and mutters, "Another one wasting my time." Calm but observant, already calculating his next move. The judge's mockery. As the hearing begins, Judge Whitmore smirks and barely hides his condescension toward Jamal. "Maybe if you spent more time in books instead of trouble, you wouldn't be here," he says mockingly. The prosecutor chuckles, and even the bored public defender doesn't object. Jamal remains silent but focused, his mind already working on how to turn the situation around. The courtroom audience, a mix of community members and legal observers, watches with interest, some pitying Jamal, others expecting the usual outcome. The judge sighs, ready to rush through the case, assuming Jamal is just another troubled kid. As the public defender stumbles through a weak defense, Jamal suddenly raises his hand and interrupts. "Your Honor, I'd like to represent myself," he says confidently. The courtroom falls silent, and Judge Whitmore's eyebrows shoot up in amusement. "You?" the judge scoffs. "You think you're a lawyer now?" The prosecutor smirks, expecting this to be a disaster. The judge sighs, clearly seeing this as a waste of time, but legally, he can't deny the request. "Fine," Whitmore says, leaning back in his chair. "This should be entertaining." Jamal remains calm, his expression unreadable, as he prepares to shock the entire courtroom. As soon as Jamal begins, his confidence and intelligence become clear. He articulates legal arguments fluently, citing case law and judicial precedents with precision. The judge, initially amused, leans forward, eyes narrowing as he realizes Jamal knows exactly what he's doing. Jamal cross-examines the arresting officer, exposing contradictions in his testimony. He points out procedural errors, showing that his arrest was unlawful. The prosecutor stops smirking, now scrambling to counter Jamal's arguments. The courtroom murmurs in shock, realizing this teenager is outperforming experienced lawyers. Judge shifts uncomfortably in his chair, his mockery replaced by unease. He may have just underestimated a genius. Not here. As the courtroom watches in stunned silence, Jamal remains poised, effortlessly arguing legal points. The scene transitions into a flashback, showing Jamal as a young boy, sitting in a small library, flipping through thick law books with intense focus. His mother, a hardworking nurse, often reminded him, "Knowledge is your weapon." Jamal became obsessed with law after witnessing his father's wrongful conviction, an event that shaped his determination to fight the system. He taught himself law by reading court transcripts online and watching trials, learning from the best without ever stepping foot in law school. In the present, the flashback fades, and Jamal's eyes burn with quiet confidence. He was built for this moment. Turning the case around. Back in the courtroom, Jamal's sharp questioning puts the arresting officer on edge. "You testified that I was running from the scene, but the surveillance footage shows me walking calmly. Which is it?" Jamal asks. The officer stumbles over his words, unable to explain the inconsistency. Jamal highlights procedural errors, pointing out that his Miranda rights weren't properly read. The judge's amusement vanished, replaced by unease. This is no ordinary teen. The prosecutor scrambles to recover, but Jamal's argument is airtight. The courtroom whispers grow louder. Jamal is winning. Judges shock and respect. Judge Whitmore, who was once dismissive, now leans forward in deep thought. Jamal's logic is airtight, his confidence unshaken. The judge, struggling to hide his surprise, asks, "Where did you learn all this?" Jamal, without hesitation, replies, "The same place you did, by studying the law." The courtroom erupts in whispers, amazed by the shift in power. The prosecutor clenches his jaw, realizing Jamal is dismantling his case. For the first time, Judge Whitmore sees Jamal not as a defendant, but as an equal. Redemption. The jury and spectators hold their breath as Judge Whitmore prepares to rule. He clears his throat, glancing at the prosecutor, who looks defeated. In light of the evidence, or rather, lack thereof, I have no choice but to dismiss this case, the judge announces. The courtroom erupts, some cheering, others in stunned silence. Jamal stands tall, victorious, while the officer and prosecutor exchange nervous glances. As Jamal turns to leave, Judge Whitmore does something unexpected. He calls him back. "You have a gift, young man. Ever thought about practicing law for real?" Jamal pauses, then nods. The judge, humbled, offers a rare nod of respect, acknowledging Jamal's brilliance. Jamal walks out of the courtroom, met with applause and admiration from spectators. Reporters rush toward him, eager to cover the teen who outsmarted the system. A renowned law firm reaches out, offering mentorship and internships. At home, his mother hugs him tightly, proud but cautious. "This world isn't always fair, even when you're the smartest in the room," she warns. Jamal nods, understanding that his fight isn't over. It's just beginning. He glances at his father's old case files, vowing to one day correct the injustices his family faced. The judge's reflection. Back in his chambers, Judge Whitmore sits alone, replaying the trial in his mind. He looks at his gavel, realizing how many young men like Jamal he may have misjudged over the years. He pulls out an old law book, flipping through its pages, the same book Jamal once read in the library. For the first time in years, he questions his own biases and the system he upholds. On his desk, there's an internship recommendation form with Jamal's name on it. The story ends with a mix of redemption and hope. Jamal's journey is just beginning, and the judge has taken his first step toward change.